Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is a quite outrageous situation which highlights how dysfunctional the Scottish Government is at Holyrood. Now, this story is about something that happened, I believe, yesterday in Holyrood Scottish Parliament, where the Conservative MSP Tess White discussed something that had happened previously at a meeting of a committee meeting of the Scottish Government. Now, for those who don't understand, a lot of things are taken out of the chamber and they'll set up these committees to discuss whatever and then bring the things back to the Parliament. And that's kind of how it works both here in Westminster. And she went into one of these committees and started asking a question. And the way she got treated is actually despicable. This is not how government should work. This is not how democracy works. What she wanted to do was go into this committee and ask a question about the ex-SNP MP Alison Thewliss, who, it appears, has now landed a role within Rape Crisis Scotland after getting parked out our constituency as an MP. Now, in the face of it, that looks like a bit of cronyism because the Rape Crisis Scotland is heavily funded by the Scottish Government. And this woman wanted to know why the woman who had her photograph taken recently with Kakub Stewart at a demonstration for trans rights, where there was a sign behind them that said decapitate all TERFs. So this woman was like wanting to ask questions, and is there cronyism? I would imagine that was on her agenda, and was, is she the right type of person to have in that situation when a lot of the people she would have to deal with could be termed as TERFs. TERFs are people who don't agree with transgender ideology. So, quite a valid question. Quite two things that are like, well, that'd be quite interesting to know the answer to both of those points. So she went into the committee meeting to ask these points. And I'm going to let her tell you how she got treated, because this is absolute bonkers. So here's what happened yesterday. When Tess White brought the subject to Parliament to discuss it with Kakub Stewart, who's some inclusion minister or some nonsense. So here's what happened.
Today, I tried to ask a question about reports the former SNP MP Alison Thewliss had been hired by Rape Crisis Scotland, a body that is, of course, funded by the Scottish Government. 2 years ago, Alison Thewliss was photographed at a protest near a sign reading "Decapitate TERFs." Women deserve to know if she has been hired by a rape crisis charity that is largely funded by the Scottish Government. But not only was I interrupted by the committee convener, other members of the committee were seen gesturing to the technicians to cut off the live feed of the committee session. And even worse, after the session, several members of the committee warned me to not ask similar questions in future. Presiding officer, is it ever legitimate for MSPs to be pressured not to ask valid questions of this government?
How bizarre. Now, there's four things out of that minute worth of clip that just made my jaw drop. The first was the reaction from the rest of the building, when you can hear the drones and groans before she even gets to the nitty-gritty, juicy bits of her question. That is shocking, right? It's as if how dare you? How dare you? That's Alison Thewliss, that's one of ours. Oh, that's all you hear in the background, as she's warming up to get to the tickly bit. She then tells us that the convener of that committee cut her off when she was asking the question. She was then told that she couldn't ask questions like that again. And there was people signifying cut the feed, because this was going out to public. And yeah, this is 2025. This is meant to be the centre of democracy in Scotland, right? These are the people we've selected to govern our part of the United Kingdom. And what they've done here is quite clearly try to shut down any talk of anything that's a bit iffy about the SNP in this committee. Now, this thing that's really grabbed my attention, because I know the difference between right and wrong, and this is evidently wrong. This is not the way we should be running our Holyrood. So this will not be the last you'll hear about this topic from me. Because if this is true that Alison Thewliss has got this job in Rape Crisis Scotland, that stinks, right? That's just jobs for the boys, right? But this particular, I actually see this thing that's happened in this committee room as a different thing. I mean, obviously they're connected, but you go, well, hold on a minute. Who do they think you are? That woman has been voted in to represent the people in her region. She's felt it was important to get into a committee, which is her due right. Any MSP can get into any committee that's held in that building, whether they're on the committee or not, and have the right to ask questions. That's just part of the deal of being an MSP. That's something I wasn't aware of until an ex-cabinet minister in Holyrood told me, and it was a nationalist one at that. Hopefully we'll hear more from that person going forward in the future. However, it's a fact that that's kind of what part of the deal. You get to go into these committee meetings and ask. And if the convener, now I'm going to dig in who was the convener, what happened. I'm going to try and get footage of the actual event. That's important. So I'm going to try and find that out. Because I don't know if this committee was yesterday or a month ago or a week ago. It probably wasn't a month ago or a week ago. I would know the full thing about Thewliss to start with. But we need to know more about it. And this is the sort of stuff and one of the reasons why I want to get into Holyrood in 2026. Because I'll be investigating this sort of nonsense from inside the lion's den. And I will not be pressured by not sharing what I find out in that building with the good Scottish people. And that doesn't matter if you voted for me, you didn't vote for me, you're a unionist like me, or a separatist, or somebody in the middle, this big chunk of people are not that bothered about Scottish independence either way, they just want to go on with their life. These people deserve to know what's happening in that building. And I'll find out. And I'll dig from the outside. But believe me, if I'm fortunate enough to get voted the good people of Scotland to get in there come May 2026, I'll be doing this for 5 years. Because this is not the way we make a better Scotland. And that doesn't matter, by the way, as I say, if you're part of the three groups in the constitutional question, whether you're a unionist, a separatist, or the big chunk in the middle that kind of don't bother. They've got things that are more important to their life than the constitutional question of Scotland. They all deserve to know what's going on in that building. And I've got no problem doing that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please hit the subscribe and the notification bell. But most important of all, unless you're the type of people that want to get into government and have nobody ask questions about you, then not you. But
everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.